Everybody, welcome, Indiana Garage. Background doesn't look familiar, I'm sure. You usually don't see that fan. I am over on the other side of the shop where the Satellite is, where I'm doing some cold weather work, I guess you could say. Can you see that? I think it's about 45 degrees right now. It's going to get cooler. It was cooler earlier. But I'm working on the cowl, the whole corner cowl situation underneath the A pillars, part of the A pillars. If you follow the channel, if you're new here, we have a couple of series going on this channel. One of them is for our 1972 Plymouth Duster, which is right there. It's much, much further along than what we're going to show you, and that's our 71 Purple Satellite. This car right here, I tore it down recently, and we're starting our work on it. So there's a series on each of those cars. That's 1971 Satellite Sebring, plus a lot of words there. And then 72 Duster. All the 72 Duster stuff, you're going to see it in with a green border. If you see a purple border, that's for the Satellite. So hopefully that is a good, organized way to do it here on YouTube. So there's a lot of stuff to do on both these cars. Hey, Jeffrey, thank you. Let me just turn this around since we'll just get right to it. Yeah, there's always what's going on. Got a DB Garage. So if you watched our part 2 of this series, kind of saw me tackle some of this stuff. It is not welded in yet, nor will it be for a bit. It's not ready to be. You can see all that stuff. I'm still on the fence on how to deal with the corrosion issue on this car, whether we should, save up some money and dip it, or if we can get by with a really good media blasting, isolated media blasting probably. I would say up here we're in really good shape with everything once everything's cleaned out, and then we blast it. And then, obviously get it, the cowling and all that stuff back together. It could be, I don't know, maybe the same thing back there. I don't know. It's one of that's because of that is why I'm kind of on the fence about stuff. But in the meantime, I am going to fix stuff that I know it's either way we do it with some precaution. We're going to go ahead and go on through here. Now, if it's looking odd here, it's because I have got this piece cut out from our donor. And let me think here. I've got, if it looks odd, because see how this piece come down here? This is part of the lower cowl that wraps up, and that's the lip that spot welds to that. Well, since we have, see that rust underneath there, and this one was rotted from about here down, I went ahead and just cut it out. I'm going to make a new piece after we get this on the car. So we'll do weld through primer, that sort of thing. There was a piece of a bracket right here, which is kind of what, if you look at them together there, it was basically this piece. I had to slice through there in order to get it removed or extracted from the other car. And this, there was a little couple of pinholes right here, just very isolated. Well, that's where the bracket is. If we go to this side over here, you'll see the mirror image of that bracket right there. So there's like either one, I think 2 spot welds right there. And so I just went ahead and just cut it out with the cutting wheel because it needs a new little section patched in there anyways. But you can see the screw hole for the windshield trim, much better than the one we got. And this, it's obviously 8 out, completely gone right here. There's no channel. So any water that was going in here over the last several years was going right into the floorboards. Actually, a lot of it was going right into the cowl. It would pool up right there. So this should alleviate that issue. I kind of thought, well, let's just jump on a live here, because when I get off of here, I'm going to start carefully cutting this away. Now you can kind of chop this one out of the donor. A little bit of a reckless abandon, but over here we want to try to be sure and make good cuts, make sure we're not destroying anything that you don't want to destroy. So we'll probably start across here not get into the, we don't want to cut the drip rail here accidentally. I mean, if we do, we could fix it. It's not a big, huge deal. But I like to start cutting across here. You'll eliminate the bulk of this really pitted rust. I might have to fab a piece in right there later on. But we want to cut down through here where this line is. I need to, probably the biggest part is lifting this flap. The spot welds are not completely busted through, but it should be able to lift up. We can cut on through. See the edge of it where my fingernail is? It kind of comes up and over. That's a little bit what you're looking at right here. So I'm going to lift that up, cut through, and then when you put the new one in, this one lays right back down on top of it. And we want to cut down through here. And right on the inside, the apex of this little bend right through here. Sorry, it's going blurry on me. And then we'll just kind of chip this away. And where it looks like it has a big eyelash thing there, that's where I see right here I had to kind of make a new mark. So that's just showing me where my final mark is for that. So we can cut that out. I'll probably cut a little conservative on it. That way when we go piecing this in like a puzzle piece, we can just make little minor adjustments and get a nice maybe 1/16 or 1/8 inch gap all the way around the piece, and it will weld in really nice. So that'll be the hardest part. Some of this will probably get a little dicey because I went ahead and cut this little piece off here because I can tell that that rust was going underneath there. So that was good because that was what was there. And so we'll have to fab that piece back in. And the hardest part probably to cut will be back in here and down a little bit, and then move this piece out. This is primarily a part of the valley here. It does not have anything to do with that one because that one ends, ends right there where my fingernail is. Kind of goes up. It's not even tight against the bend there. So, and Dean's right. This is very complicated. I looked at it a few weeks ago, and you can tell what's going on, but at the same time, your mind is wanting to integrate things together that aren't integrated, and then you have to really sit here and dissect what part is what. So this whole bathtub type lower cowl, there's a lot of things where it helps it wrap up on top of this section here, and it wraps up on top of these panels, and like it shows that little piece down in there like on that other side. And then it wraps up here, but this is the end of it. And then it kind of disappeared there. I had to look at the other piece for a reference. And it kind of comes up here and then shoots across there. And you can tell it's all eat out. So we'll probably bend some of this back a little bit, see what kind of action we got. And then we'll just, like I said, really carefully cut it, clear it, and then we'll start making sure that this will fit nice and correct. We want all of our lines to be nice and parallel with each other. We don't want this coming up and then it going like that, or vice versa. Same thing when you're looking at it this way. We want it all to be as it is so that every part that we put in later, like the windshield and the trim and then the fender and all that kind of stuff, is good. You wonder how engineers came up with the fix? Well, I don't think the engineers really had to worry about the fix. They just had to worry about putting them together, and that's what they did here. They had their sections. They took their cowling from like here, and they had the inner pieces, or some of probably the larger pieces are what went together first, and anything smaller, like little side bracketry and stuff, corner gussets and things like that, was probably integrated. Because you got to figure, this car it probably started rusting, early in its life, but it wasn't like this. It was probably looking a little bit more, well, like, I don't know, maybe like that, which is just kind of a surface rust. Yeah, Clayton, archaeology with a side of tetanus. Hey, make sure you guys have your tetanus shots so you're up to date on that, because if you're going to be screwing around with this stuff, you better be there on that. Yeah, lack of metal treatment would be a big thing. One thing I've noticed, there is the old spongy stuff. I think that spongy stuff was maybe a little bad. But I mean, it's strange because look at the bare. This is bare metal through here. There is some rust, but there's even some clean bare metal through the majority of that. So that's very surprising to me. And it's weird how it can be bare, clean, 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 and then bam, right here. So these areas are probably holding it. Maybe the adhesive they used, and it just didn't get any good ventilation because your fender came up to about here. The hood on these was like a sealed wiper type deal, and so air came over and probably cleaned all this up. And then the inside of the car, maybe, I don't know. That's just a guesstimate. And then over here, everything was in a corner. You'd have debris from trees and stuff, and it would sit there and soot and tree sap, and all that stuff causes a lot of issues. So, but really, like I said in the videos, if you check those out, I said this is going to be the hardest part of the car in my estimation, because you have just an intersection of a lot of structure right there, and we have to undo that before we put the other piece on. It'll be good to cut. I did the green paint on this one. On that car, I did yellow to mark all of our bad spots as a reminder, because some of them are so small you won't go right over them. Like we have to repair this lower section right here, and we have a good piece of that from our donor. And this is a piece here, which is a little odd, but I think what got that one was on the other side. It was the heater box. See the rust? Had some moisture come down, and it got into that insulation behind the heater box or the AC box, and causes some rot issues. So we've got those three issues right here. Those won't be nearly as hard. They'll just be a matter of maybe an hour and a half, maybe each, and then they'll be good. I'm talking cut out and put in and done. We'll have to assess stuff like under here. You can see it's a little scaly. So hopefully it's not ate through, but if it is, then we'll have to just probably do it from the underside. Yeah, that's a large flat area, and we can cut that out if need be, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We do have a little spot down here. These are always kind of bad on these cars because they had all that seam sealer, and I think a lot of it lifted over time, and then obviously all your water raining down the side here would get kind of held in against it, and then a lot of times wouldn't dry out for a few months at a time, like in the winter, things like that. So cause a little pinhole there. So we'll probably cut a little elbow section out there based on what it looks like here. And otherwise, it looks like everything up here is very good. So the front end of the car, aside from those issues in the corners and what we had going on the top there, is actually pretty good. Yeah, so like Dean says, it took years because, this was a transition from the 68 through 70 B body. And those cars, those 68 through 70 B bodies, were built a little bit more like these A bodies were, where you had the cowl panel that came up here, and it was directly empty under that. It was actually a simpler design here. But really what happened was when they went to these cars, it's the same design, but they recessed it, sculpted it for structural components to fit on top of it, or hood, and they wanted that concealed wiper look, and so the hood came up here and set on top of this rather than set in front of it, and then the fender rode over top of it too. So you had kind of a big air plenum kind of in a way above this one, but it would set up here and then the fender, and that's why this is looking this way and that doesn't, because this was exposed and this had a fender over top of it. But it's technically the same design, especially in here. These are built the same as those. It's just how they presented it. So it's really kind of the same design, and that would go back even earlier, so sometime back in the early mid-60s. But this is more of that kind of an integration of a different idea, and they just had to adapt it, so that's what you got. Yeah, and it always says like the salt issue. So from my understanding, I don't have proof, but this car, it is a Los Angeles car, and I was told it started life in California, like when it was bought. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I could maybe believe the first few years, but when this car was found by Ryan Barsness, it was in Iowa in lost storage several years ago. So I believe it's set up in Iowa for 30 years in storage. So before that, who knows how long it was on the road, getting whatever damage that it had. Because I mean, it's got some stuff going on here, but it's not nearly as bad as that car was. That car, I believe, probably was in the Midwest and Mid-South for its whole life, and it was neglected and abused a lot. And this car was kind of put away a long time ago with whatever damage it had here, and here it is. So, and I'll show you again. And we're gonna have a set video on all this. So if you miss anything, don't worry about it. But here's where we cut that section out. So we're still getting some good pieces off of this. Like I said, this is good here. We'll have to cut, remove the little flap here for the drain. We can cut this section out, repair it. I think there's a crack over there for where it's rotted a little bit, but we'll have to kind of refabricate some of this, cut it off, and then we'll put it on the other car. So it's really donating a lot of stuff to it, even though it's not perfect. But I'd say the progress today is pretty good. I plan to go to Indy for the swap meet. I'm not sure. Things are kind of difficult lately with things outside of the shop. So hopefully I can make it. I think I will, but I don't know if it's going to be the big trip that I was aiming for. Hopefully we can get some things that we need. Money's really an issue anymore. It's strange. It's like I've moved up in work and quite significantly in the past year, but it seems the progress on our cars has been really slow because it's just the money's not going as far as it used to. And it's strange because job I had, let's go back 2 years ago. I'm living here in this place. The payments are the same for the house. The payments, actually, I'm minus a car payment now. Actually, there's 2 car payments that were minus now. And I made probably $10 less an hour, and it seemed like it was working better then than it is now. So I think we got some inflation issues, or something's up. So that's makes it kind of tough. And then there's a lot of stuff going on in my life right now, and it'll be, hopefully I can get away for a day or two. It'll be nice if I can do that, but we won't be real satisfied with what we can bring back because I just got to be safe about it and not spend a lot of money, because I'd like to have a fuel tank for the Duster, and I'll probably just go up there and buy a bunch of stuff that little knick-knack stuff that I can put away for when we get the paint and all that stuff together. So it's a little depressing. I'll admit that it's a little depressing because I love coming on here and showing you what we can do, what we can help you with your cars, and giving you, if you just like to watch the videos, give you a video to watch. I like making them like consistently, but it's kind of a bummer when you can't really do that because you ain't got much to do. But I'm trying to think what's gas around here. If I go down here to the corner, I think it's like $2.76. It's been that way for quite a while. It was like $2.95 for a year. And I mean, I'm trying to do what I can. I'll get a little stuff. I'm going to flip this around. I did do, I got some knee cop brake line, 3/16. I did get some front brake hoses for the disc brakes. And I went ahead and bent our lines. You can see them laying up here on the top of the Duster. So I did the full intermediate, the length of the car one. I kept the old one, which is actually right here. I kept the old one for a template. And that was very helpful. And knee cop is so easy. You can bend it all by hand. And it's very corrosion resistant. I still need to put the flares on it. And I also got gravel guard. I need to get some more gravel guard. They didn't really give you enough to do the whole 25 feet of knee cop, but I'd like to have some more to cover the naked areas, like this whole piece here. And this piece here is the firewall section. So here it is laying across our 8 3/4. I kept that one for a template too. There's a proportioning valve, and I probably just reuse those that go up to the master cylinder. But we'll see. I might go full throttle and do those too. Just get a little bit extra. I think it'll run short being able to do those, but we'll see. And also, like I said, I got it 8 3/4 housing. I cut and narrowed. It's slightly narrower than factory. It'll still work. You might have to machine maybe 1/8 of an inch off the tips of your axles. But if somebody needs that, let me know. I'll give you a deal on it. I could use some money. What else? So I got those, got the brake lines. I did hang the dash in there just kind of on a temporary thing on that car. Might be temporary because I need to get the gauge cluster and all that kind of stuff done. One of you asked a minute ago, I was thinking I knew I forgot something. DB Garage said, question for you. Have you ever rebuilt a factory Mopar steering box? No, I have not personally. Actually, odd you brought that up because I finally decided to go with firm feel again. I've used them several times on all my cars. The only one I haven't done is the van. I did steering gear on theirs, and I guess it's okay. The van's kind of a different steering situation, so it's hard to really compare. It's been a good box, no trouble. I typically send mine to Firm Feel up in Vancouver, Washington. You can get it in stages. You can either get the factory, the real soft, loose steering, like the Chryslers were known for, or they can bump it up to a number 2, which is a little more grippy, has a little more resistance, more of a modern car feel. And you can even go up to number 3, which is kind of like road race friendly. So it's very tight steering, very precise. And I've always liked that number 2 box. I've got mine in the car right now, packaged up, ready to ship to Vancouver, Washington. And remember, I'm in Indiana, so this is like 20-some hundred miles away. And it's going to be a little expensive to get it there. And their prices have went up. I don't begrudge them for it. It's just the way everything is. So probably, and they're on a 4-month back order too, I guess you could say, because I'm going to send it up there. You know, what I plan to do is just save a little money each check specifically for that. And then when they get it done, I can pay the shipping and have it sent back. It's probably going to be $600 some. So that's kind of a bummer as far as the pocket end of things, but it is really worth it for what it does to your car. So I don't touch them personally. I'll leave that to the professional. There's certain things I don't touch. I don't touch brewery building transmissions. I'll do almost anything else, though, I guess. Their rear ends are I'm close to doing a rear end, but I haven't really done one as far as like setting depth and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'll probably have to go on Amazon and get more of that gravel guard. Shoot, what else? The shop's kind of a mess. This is actually junk. I bought it a couple years ago. I bought this at Indy a couple years ago. This thing's good. And I noticed when I got it, it was kind of out around. It was like, that's weird. And then it seemed all right until like last year. I was sitting here gripping on it and it cracked. And I was able to actually just like completely do this. See that? Watch. So that is that's garbage. So that was a waste of $100. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling. I'm out here. It feels good to be out here. It's very therapeutic, I guess. But we're just feeling kind of, in general, just feeling kind of ick. Like I said, usually Indy picks me up pretty good, so I hope I can make it up there. It usually brings me in a pretty good mood. I can go get me a bite to eat, hang around town, maybe go over to my old hometown in Newcastle for a bit. I don't know. We'll just see what's going on. So that's what's going on. I'm going to just chip away with some of this. I do plan to have a video out. Maybe, I don't know, maybe tomorrow. We'll see how far I can get with this. If I can jump off here and get some work done, maybe I'll be able to do that. But I'm going to start chipping this out. We'll get it on film. We'll get it up on YouTube. And hopefully y'all can watch and enjoy it. If you're not learning, you're entertained maybe. So y'all have a great rest of your Sunday. Have a good week. We'll be seeing you from here at the Indiana Garage.